Hi friends, it's me again.
Hi, Kash from the future. When I first filmed this video, I did a whole big thing of like the platforms you could use with audiobooks, my favorite narrators, my favorite audiobooks that I've listened to, the things I would recommend. The video was too fucking long, okay? You guys would have been here for like 30 minutes and I did not want that. So in this video, I just talked about platforms specifically and they are platforms that I use, so they're not all of them. I'll probably do a part 2 of like audiobook recommendations, my favorite narrators. I wanted it all in one video, but you guys would have been here too long and I just feel like my face on your screen for a long time. I don't want to do that to you. So yeah, that's all I had to say. Enjoy the video.
We are going to talk about audiobooks today, which I'm super excited for because this past year I've really been in my audiobook era. When I started out, I was a little intimidated. It took me a minute to really get comfortable listening to audiobooks and to find narrators that really worked for me. So I want to tell you guys like all the tips and tricks that I've learned while listening to audiobooks and what's helped me a lot, especially because audiobooks have saved my reading goals this year a lot. And I do think it's such a convenient and accessible form of reading because audiobooks do count as reading in this household. Like, I'm still kind of a newbie to this. I started I started March 2022. So yeah, about a year and a half, a little more than a year and a half. By the way, Bruce is very grumpy over there. So if you hear him yelling, it's because he hates me, but it's okay. So first, let's go over the platforms. Like, where can you listen to audiobooks and do you have to always pay for them? Let's just talk about that because I know that is a big concern for everyone. I know it's a big concern for me. I started with Audible, which is about $16 a month for 1 credit, and I do believe that's robbery. It took me the longest time to really accept that for me because I just thought $16 for 1 audiobook a month. It didn't really feel like it was worth it to me just because depending on how long the audiobook is and how fast you get through audiobooks, by the time you're done with that 1 credit, it's probably like the beginning of the month and you're like, what the hell do I do now, right? I think the overarching thing with audiobooks, especially if you're listening through Audible, is accepting that audiobooks are an investment. Like, you will pay for a membership, get 1 credit, and possibly still pay more money for more audiobooks through Audible specifically. And some of these audiobooks get very pricey. Like, if you're not paying in credits, you can pay in cash. There are audiobooks on here that are like $25, and it's like, what's the point of paying for a membership if I'm just gonna pay for the membership and $25 on top of that for more books that I want to listen to, right? So it gets very annoying very quickly, but something that's helped me with that, sometimes if a book is on Kindle Unlimited and you download it to your Kindle and then check the Audible price, it goes down a lot. What book was I looking at? Let me see, let me pull it up. This is why I'm doing it over here. So a good example, Butcher and Blackbird, that book is available on KU, but without KU, the audiobook is what, regular price, $19.95, right? However, because it's available on Kindle Unlimited, if you download Butcher and Blackbird to your Kindle first and then like refresh and go back to see, it updates it so the price is no longer $19.95 but $7.49. So you do get kind of a reduced rate, and personally I don't mind paying $7.50 for an audiobook. I think that's a decent deal, especially because it's originally $20. So always check that. Not all books do that, like you don't always get a discount, but I always like to double check. So if I'm interested in listening to an audiobook, double check with KU, see if it's on there, download it and see if it reduces the price. That's something that's helped me a lot this year, and it also helps me save a bit of credit. So it's like, I don't mind paying $7.50 for an audiobook and I still have 1 additional credit so I can listen to something else that probably isn't available in Kindle Unlimited. So let me see, there's another book in my wish list that I want to listen to, but I don't think the books are on KU. The Kingmaker by Kennedy Ryan, for instance, I don't think that's available in Kindle Unlimited, so the audiobook is $17.46 through Audible. That's something I would use a credit for because personally I don't want to pay $17 on 1 fucking audiobook. Are you insane? Right. So
Kash from the future again. I also wanted to point out that those were the prices the day that I looked them up, which was November 18th. Right now, editing this video, it is the 26th. And Kingmaker series is on sale. The sale ends in like 5 days. And right now, the Kingmaker is $12.48, which is 49% off. And then the Rebel King, the second book in that series, is $9.98. So heads up. Those prices have changed, and prices always vary on Audible too, just depending on which day you look and what sales they have going on. I should have screenshotted everything the day that I filmed this video, but I was in a rush.
I've tried saving my credits that way, and it's just like, it really depends on what you want to do. Personally, if I can get a book for $7, I'm going to buy it just with my own money and then save my credit for something that I really want to listen to that's not available in KU. They also have a ton of deals. Like right now I'm looking at Does It Hurt by H.D. Carlton. That is currently $6.99. I think that's 71% off, and that sale ends in 12 days. I don't know what sale is going on, but I'm gonna have to buy that. I'm currently reading Wild at Heart on Kindle right now, and this audiobook is $2. It really depends. I always say just double check. And I remember I talked about this in a reading wrap up at the beginning of the year, the mixtape by Brittany Cherry. I think. I downloaded the book to KU, and then the audiobook was free through Audible. So sometimes they have those deals as well. Just double check. That's helped me a lot. So I hope if you didn't know that, now you do, so you can possibly save a bit of money. I know it's not like a ton. I also think with Audible, like personally, I think I want to start just paying for it a year in advance, and it's so expensive, you guys. Like, I think for a year membership, I think it's like $200 or something like that, but you get 12 credits, and I do think that will be worth it. So it's like I'm not paying month to month, and I do think you end up saving money if you just buy it up front. But personally, my brain doesn't work like that. It doesn't feel like I'm saving money when I'm paying $200 up front. Like, at that point, I'm like, let's just do month to month, because it doesn't feel like you're robbing me. I think ultimately you do end up saving money. Personally, it just doesn't feel like that in the moment. I'm like, why would I want to pay 200 up front when I can give you 16? Girl math. I've also ventured out and started using different free platforms as well through libraries. So there is Hoopla and Libby. You do need a library card to sign up for these apps, but it literally takes no time at all to get a library card. Like, all you have to do is get the card and then sign up with the card information through Libby or Hoopla, and then you have access to audiobooks as well as ebooks too. I think that's very good to know. This has saved me so much fucking money this year, you guys. Now with Libby, it really depends on what's available at your library, which gets very frustrating. For instance, I have friends that live in different states that have accounts through Libby, and they can get like Magnolia Parks, they can get that audiobook and other books as well that my library doesn't have. So they can listen to Magnolia Parks for free because it's available through Libby, and I can't because my library doesn't have it. So it does get very frustrating when your library doesn't have books that you really want to listen to, you know. But I will say Libby has forced me to read the books that have been on my TBR for years. It also gets frustrating with Libby because there are wait times. So for instance, there are tons of books that I am on the wait list for, and depending on how popular those books are and how many copies are available at your library, you could be waiting for a minute. There is one book I have on hold, and it says there's a 7-week wait. So that really tested my patience when I tried out Libby, because I was so used to just the instant gratification of spending so much money on an audiobook and getting it immediately, right? So this one has helped me calm down and be a bit more patient, which is nice. And it's also helped me just venture out and try different things that weren't initially on my TBR. So I think that's good too. Like, it's exposing me to different books that I wouldn't have touched really. Ultimately, they're free, so I can't complain that much. Libby also has a return date, so you have to listen. I think it's 28 days and then you have to return it. So that gets a bit frustrating too, especially if a lot of your holds come through at the same time. So there is a bit of a time crunch with Libby. Hoopla is also an alternative choice. The only thing with Hoopla is their category is kind of limited, especially with romance books. I think Kennedy Ryan's Grip trilogy is on there. I'm pretty sure there's some Demi Perry. I know I saw Liz Tom Ford's books on there. I don't think you have to return those, or I think you do, but it's like there's no wait for them. So even if you do, you can just re-download them. That's a good thing about Hoopla. You don't have to wait. You get the books instantly, but there's not like a ton you can choose from. But also that's helped me venture out and read books that I didn't know that I was interested in. I know there are others too. I think there's Libro FM, but I think you have to pay for that. I don't know. Those are the 3 platforms I use. I would say I've used Libby the most this year. And actually I paused my Audible subscription for a couple months, and then I just repaid for it again because I really wanted to listen to Butcher and Blackbird, but it wasn't on Libby at all, and then it's not on Hoopla. And I was like, fine, I'm gonna have to buy this book, but luckily I can buy it for $7.50. But I do think those 3 platforms are really, really good choices for audiobooks. So that's been my experience in the platforms that I use. I know Spotify just started their audiobook thing, so if you're a premium member, you get 15 hours worth of audiobooks, which is okay. I think you could squeeze 1 to 2 audiobooks in there a month, which isn't bad. Like, it's already free if you pay for Spotify. However, I will say I looked and it's not available for Spotify student. I finessed the system with Spotify because I work at a university. I can still get premium student for $6. So yeah, unfortunately, because I'm still on a student plan, I don't get Spotify premium, which includes the audiobooks, which I think is kind of stupid. Like, why wouldn't you have that available for students? Like, it's a premium student account, but I don't get the audiobook. So keep that in mind if you're in college or if you work at a university like me and you're still using Spotify student, you don't get the audiobook. So I can't speak much about Spotify audiobooks because they don't want me there. I will say listening through Libby and Hoopla has saved me a ton of money, because if I'm reading an audiobook and I don't like it, I can easily just return it knowing that I didn't spend anything on it. Whereas if I started an audiobook through Audible and I didn't use a credit on it, like I used my money and I'm listening to it and I hate it and I hate the narrators and it feels like a waste of money essentially, because I can't really return it at a certain point. So I highly recommend going through your libraries using Libby and Hoopla. It saved me a ton of money this year, and I think it's honestly a really, really good resource. Audiobooks are important, and I hope you guys feel more confident jumping into them. It does take a bit of time to adjust, but once you're there, you're gonna fall in love with it. And it's like eyeballing anything feels so weird now because like I'm just used to strangers in my ear. So yeah, besties, that's all I have. I'm gonna stop talking. I'm like on an adrenaline high right now, but if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like me, please subscribe, and I will see y'all next time. Mwah.